All right, Bogles. For those not familiar, Bogles refers to this card, Slippery Bogle. Um, Basically, this is a deck full of 1 mana hexproof things and 2 mana hexproof things that you put enchant creatures onto to power up and attack your opponent for hopefully quickly lethal amounts of damage. So let's pop on into some matches and play some games here. This is a quick one, regardless of how it goes. Where's our curve? Our curve is we have more of a line. Yeah, it looks like Mythic Spoiler's down. Scryfall's not as quick to update because they validate a little bit more, but their sites usually is nicer, which is nice. I was feeling like it was dark in my room yesterday, and I pulled the cover off the light on the ceiling, and like 2 of the 3 bulbs were burnt out, and I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense. So it's a little bit brighter in my life this morning. 1 slippery boy. You basically keep any hands with this deck that have like land creature. Delver of Secrets. Delver of Secrets. You know what? I probably am supposed to fetch probably supposed to fetch a Plains and play that the other way, because I want to make sure I have white in case I draw a Daybreak Coronet. So if this flips over, we're actually in kind of a medium spot because they can play defense with it. I don't have any first strike enchantments to kind of power through it. Yep. So if they hold this back on defense, we can't really attack until we find something. So looking to draw a Daybreak Coronet or a what's the other first strike enchantment called? Ethereal Armor. Oh, they're just attacking. Deal. Let's race. I suppose because I fetch shocked, I'm down to life, which actually leaves me in kind of a bad spot to race. Because like if they flip, I'm dead in 2, especially with their burn spells. So yeah, I guess I technically, so if I was like +2 health here from fetching better, I guess I'd still be dead in 2 to the electrolyzes. So if they flip here and have like red swords, they could bolt us potentially. Light up the stage. Light up the stage likely implies they're not playing counter spells. So now I'm hoping to draw a lifelink enchantment or a lifelink enchantment or a way to deal lethal. Although I don't think I have any single enchantments that are lethal, right? If I draw Ethereal Armor, it's only +4. I guess Ethereal Armor is lethal with this, huh? It would be 9 + 1. So they don't have a blocker. Ethereal Armor is lethal. Hyena Umbra. They exiled a lightning bolt. So the fact that maybe I should have waited on this Gryff Spoon to spread it out, because if I could have blocked both their things here, I could have survived this turn, but they have a bolt in exile, which means I'm not going to be able to do anything here. Yep. Double Delver on the play. Alright, so do I want to work Leyline of Sanctity in? to protect from burn spells. I don't think I do. I think I might just click submit. I think our average draw is probably beats their average draw. Yeah, right. Like they were on the play. Were they on the play? No, I was on the play. I'm a liar. So they were on the draw, but they flipped their Delver right away and just had 2 that flipped right away, and they were able to race. So I think I'm just gonna click submit here. I think these paths are better than ley lines. Like, if anything, I could see like trimming Path and Spirit Mantle for the 4 copies of Leyline to not get burned out. Needle their Delver. Yep, that is technically a legal play. Seems very reasonable to go this into this. Definitely fetch a basic plains this time. We don't have a lifelink enchantment again, but I've got a Path to Exile to interact with their first threat. And Cartouche plus Ethereal Armor allow me to power up my Dorko a little bit. That Floodage Drain is so beautiful. It's like pretty enough to steal. Scary Terry, huh? Looks like this is probably something similar to the build of Blue-Red Delver from Legacy, if I had to venture a guess. So let's just attack for 4. Hey, Nivik. Thanks for the 10-month resub. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Thanks for taking the time to log into that other account. Dr. Peasy. All right. As always, looking for a lifelink enchantment. The Ledgewalker. I don't currently have Trample. I'm going to start by attacking with both of these and see what they do. I assume they're just taking the hit for 5. Terramander's still pretty far off of doing anything useful. I feel like these games so far have been like a good example of this deck experiencing its wrong half problem. Like, we've drawn multiple creatures and just like have not seen any of our really powerful enchantments to let us overpower the game. Well, we're in an okay position here. Scary Terry still at least 1 turn from farting off, which means I get good attacks next turn. Would this deck play 8 Canopy? This deck doesn't even play 4 Canopy per sip. So, I think one of the things I'm going to look forward to is people not understanding how much incidental damage they take from those cards and playing too many of them. Like, 3 is probably realistically the ceiling in a lot of decks. The number of decks that want to play 4 or more than 4 are going to be very, very few. Like, most decks want some number of them, but like 2 to 3 is almost certainly going to be the sweet spot. The correct thing to do for a lot of decks is, a lot of decks in Modern kind of cheat on their land count. So I think we'll see a lot of decks play 2 to 3 copies of these Horizon Canopy-like cards, while also going up at least 1 land to do so, because the punishment for flooding out is less when 2 to 3 of the lands in your deck can just be cycled. What's the opponent playing? They're playing some kind of blue-red Delver brew here with Scary Terry, Pro Tour winner Terramander. I'm not sure that those lands are actually good in Shadow. So, like, those lands don't help you cast Shadow super quickly. Like, they're much slower than just, like, fetch, shock, deal 3 to yourself right away. And another thing is, like, one of the things that you have to do in Shadow is, like, balance hammering your health total. So, like, the pain lands don't stop dealing damage to you at a certain point. Oh, chest clocks. Welcome back, opponent. Shock down to 8. We find, okay. Wonder if we're gonna see this trade for the Ledgewalker. I mean, every Magic deck floods on occasion. It's just part of the game. Alright, I got all my creatures. Am I gonna get burned out? We could get burned out. They got, like, Bolt. We played a Sultai Vow deck, and it was really bad. There are a couple of Simic Vow decks in the queue, but nothing banned like that. Increase flooding. No, not really. Because if you look at decks that have high volumes of cantrips in them, they also play a lower land count to offset the fact that they're going to see more cards. So the proportion of lands that they play is similar to the proportion of decks that play no cantrips. One, two, three, four, five, six. They got really close to killing me there. They're like a Thought Scour away, or a Thought Scour flipping one spell away. At the end there. I think I'm going to keep how I sideboarded, though. I don't think I want these ley lines. Hey, thanks, Taplands. Yeah, hopefully we're going to figure out in the next day or so here what I'm playing tomorrow, or what I'm playing this weekend. I've wedged in black, red, and black, white aristocrats, because those are decks that are both kind of interesting that I might play. I might also give Bant Bow another shot. Someone had a reasonable idea of putting some Immortal Suns in the sideboard, which does not seem like an unreasonable thing to do. A lot of these Planeswalker decks do not have good ways to take that card off the table. Alright, so this hand does not have the first enchantment we need, because this can only go on an already enchanted creature. But if we just find any of our creature enchantments, Daybreak Coronet's basically unbeatable in this matchup for the opponent, so... this weekend is the qualifier weekend for finishing in the top 1,000. Perfect. That gives us reach. Sign me up. I'm leading on this because I want it to resolve less in case they have Spell Pierce. Perfect. So now I can shock this in and play Spider Umbra. Mr. Maple Syrup with the 12 months of support. Have a sword to go with your shield. Thanks for keeping me around. Fuzzy Thantos. Thanks for the 11 months. I'm going to go ahead and attack for 2. I was going to maybe debate trying to block, but I don't want anything to go sideways there. Nah, Terramander's not really a format staple. There's just a lot of people that play lots of brews in this format, just like every other format of Magic. Like everyone else realized they might be good. Yeah, probably. Might be something to these cards. Spell Snare, sure. I have another one, thankfully. Well, this weekend is a Magic Arena event, Civilized Scholar. And they're actually implementing a chess clock in tomorrow's update, and I don't really want to play the Citadel deck into a thing where I have chess clocks, especially against something like the Dreadhorde deck, where my opponent could realistically like gain like 30, 40, 50 life. Because like, while that deck can kill from any health total, the amount of time that it will take to kill from any health total is like very, very high. Yeah, that resolved. So unless my opponent is like an Echoing Truth here, we should be good to go. Or a Hibernation. No, I have no idea what I'm playing yet. I had 3 days to decide that. One of the really awesome things about welcome to Modern. One of the really awesome things about playing Arena is I don't have to scramble to find cards for whatever I'm playing. So like, since I just have a full collection on Arena, I can just like take all the time up to the last minute trying to figure out what I would like to play. Whereas like Paper, I'm playing a Paper standard tournament 3 weeks from now, and basically whatever deck I figure out I'm playing this weekend, I probably also need to play that same deck in Paper so I can take times to have someone mail me a deck or find me cards. It took 25 minutes of clicking to kill someone from 90. Yeah, that sounds about right. This hand needs another land, but it's like really good if it finds one. And if it misses, it still gets to play Magic for a turn or two. I did last weekend go. I went 2-2. Bogles is the epitome of Modern. Bogles is like, you've recognized Modern for what it is, and you realize you just have to let it take you by the hand and guide you. Just be your guiding principle. Now, if I miss on lands and my opponent has a Thalia here, we're going to die real fast. However, if I hit a land and my opponent doesn't have a Thalia, this is another matchup where Daybreak Coronet is basically just unbeatable if we get it into play, so hopefully that'll happen and they'll die. I mean, 2-2 is about par for the course. Which is like kind of how Magic goes. Bogles is infect for people who don't value their time. What on God's green earth does that mean? Can you like turn that into an intelligent sentence? Instead of just like trying to tear down a deck that you don't like to play against? Do you mean Blast Zone? And no, not really. Engineered Explosives is already a card that, like, saw a reasonable amount of play in the format, so I don't know that Blast Zone's really that different than Engineered Explosives. Yeah. Yeah, and that's, like, the way Paper Magic works, which is a big part of why I stopped playing, is, like, or why I started play less tournaments these days, is because, like, going 2-2, I could still, like, have a chance to, like, do well, and, like, I could have played the last 4 matches, but the problem is, the way tournament Magic works is once I've taken my 2 losses, the best I could do in the tournament from there is 6-2, and the way tiebreakers work is, even if I finished 6-2 winning 75% of my matches, I wouldn't even top 16 the tournament, just the way tiebreakers and tournament math works. Alright, I think we've missed on lands long enough that we're probably dead here. Although I guess they also don't really have any pressure. So, like, if I hit a land here, the Spider Umbra gives this reach, and then, like, we kind of sit here until I find, like, a path or another Daybreak. Wow, they're just, like, solid. They either have another Kite Sail, or they're banking on the fact that I'm never going to find a land. Yeah, see, I'm actually the inverse. I am not a big fan of team events in general. Team events are frustrating for me from the perspective of if I end up making mistakes or doing poorly, I'm like costing my teammates stuff, or if they make mistakes and play poorly, they're costing me stuff. I'd much rather just like have it on myself. Yeah, buys are good not only because they're free match wins, but buys are great because they guarantee that you have better tiebreakers. Yeah, see, I think comparing Bogles and Infect is kind of silly. There's a very small overlap of cards that are good against them, but in general, as someone who's played with and against both those decks a lot, the play patterns tend to be drastically different. Yeah, losing early means your tiebreakers tend to be worse because the way tiebreakers work in tournament Magic, your tiebreakers are dictated. Your tiebreakers are dictated by your opponent's match win percentage. So losing early means that your average opponent has a worse match win percentage. And the way tournament Magic works, especially events that are like Swiss with rounds based on the attendance, as soon as you take your second loss, you're mathematically eliminated from top 8, like 99% of the time. Uh, 100% of the decks that I play on my stream end up on my website and my YouTube channel later this evening after I'm finished playing them. Great. If I find a land and get to Daybreak Coronet. Yeah, the fact that my opponent didn't take my Daybreak Coronet seemed incredibly wrong. I think that was a pretty big mistake on their part. And now, like, unless they have a Deputy of Detention in their main deck, they basically can just never beat this card. This enchantment, for people not familiar, gives my creature 3/3, first strike, vigilance, and lifelink, but it can only be attached to it if it's already enchanted by something else. And then my 1/1 also has +2/0 and trample from Rancor, and then +1/+1 from this Cartouche. Yeah, I think this game was incredibly winnable for my opponent's side, and they used their cards pretty incorrectly. Torpor Orb is sweet against the opponent's deck. It says their creatures don't trigger abilities when they come into play. I'm gonna trim a Gryff Spoon, I think, just because flying's not as useful in this matchup because they have a lot of random flyers. I guess being able to block their random flyers is nice. You are at 92 right now, Squid Squad. That's all I really have here. I don't think we really care about Vials enough to bring in Needle. In fact, someone was asking about Blast Zone. Pithing Needle is a really clean answer to cards like Blast Zone, which is nice. Sniper Wave, that makes 21. That seems okay. I guess it's got like first strike plus a trample aura, which is not bad. It doesn't have Daybreak in the opener, but like I kind of want to draw Daybreak later as opposed to who is the most time odds? There's a few. It stops counting at 99, so there's a few people that have 99 plus. Do they keep a hand without a second land? Sure. I think because my lifelink enchantments are so unbeatable on average in this matchup, I'm actually going to go ahead and just like Hyena Umbra plus Rancor and then play defense here. I think if I don't get too aggressive, I just like hit a lifelink enchantment, we're just like good to go. Like I assume a Noble Hierarch's coming into play here. I fetched a second white because I wanted double white in the event that we drew Daybreak, although it's a touch awkward because I have a bunch of green cards in my hand. Meddling Mage, almost certainly maybe Daybreak Coronet. Oh. That is the unbeatable card. The 4-color Dreadhorde was more enjoyable and felt more powerful than Sultai. Thanks, Pinky. I appreciate it. My planning to block here not working out, so we're going to get to attack for 5, so I guess I missed 4 points of damage. And they named Path to Exile. Am I just dead from here? I think I'm just dead from here. I guess I could theoretically draw, like, Spirit Link. Well, Hoagland is just my name. So just having it be my name isn't particularly clever. Let's move along to the next one. We're pretty dead here. Locked out on the axes that matter. This hand could technically load up Dryad Arbor, and it has Torpor Orb. That's probably not good enough. Just like get dumpstered by a Reflector Mage. This hand's okay. If you look at the pin message in the general channel of Discord, one of the subs that actually worked on a Hoaglandia Anthem at one point, I believe it's still pinned there. One thing that this Bogles list does is we're not playing Core Spirit Dancer. We have copies of Silhana Ledgewalker here, which is nice. Daybreak Coronet, sign me up. It's exactly what I wanted for Christmas, chat. So now, unfortunately, Daybreak Coronet can only be placed on a creature that's already enchanted. So that means my opponent is going to have a chance to, like, Kite Sail, Freebooter, or Meddling Mage me next turn. Or, I suppose they could technically Thalia me too, huh? If they Thalia me, I need to draw a land. Smells like Freebooter. So, hoping to rip a Daybreak off the top. Tradesies. Tradesies. Morning Storm. Yep. Yep, yep, yep. Yep, yep, yep. So I got 3 Daybreaks and 3 Paths in my deck. All pretty reasonable draws. Magic's a tough game sometimes, chat. It's real hard. Attack with Voltron. Looking to fade Deputy of Detention. They have, if they find Deputy here, we're actually gonna lose because they get to Deputy the Gryff Spoon, which makes the Daybreak Coronet fall off because Daybreak can only enchant a creature that's already enchanted. Doesn't smell good for our hero, chat. Rats, they know how the game works too. So we need to find a path so we can path this Kite Sail and get our other Daybreak back. Wonder which color Canopy Humans wants to play, because we're not getting a blue-white one, which is probably the one they'd want. Green-white is they probably just still play Horizon Canopy. So our ideal draws here are either another Daybreak or a path into... Meddling Mage probably locks this up. And again, one of the reasons why I would never play a deck like this in a tournament, just like a lot of the decisions that these decks make are just like basically in the opening hands that they keep. These decks lack what I would refer to as player agency. You don't really have a lot of control over your own destiny outside of how you sideboard and what hands you keep or mulligan. It's kind of like, this is my stuff. I hope my stuff is good enough. And I drew the 3rd Daybreak Coronet here, but again, my opponent has Meddling Mage on it now, so... Yeah, this is definitely a deck that you could attach a flowchart to. Definitely a deck that you could flowchart and play like 80-85% efficiently or something. Something high, some high probability like that. Now, if we could just find opponents who could play Magic quickly, we could get through to Standard with relative speed. Sure, Zegs. I didn't say your deck was bad. I just said that was the only thing similar that we've played. The Sultai deck we played was definitely bad. I don't really have opinions on the deck that you linked. We haven't played with it. Jace the Man Sculptor with the half a year of support. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Yeah, that's another thing. Playing Ruinous Blast when like a bunch of the decks are Planeswalker decks. I'm not sure that really sounds like something that sounds particularly good. Although I guess the flip side is most creature sweepers don't work against Planeswalkers anyway, so it's not like any more or less dead against the Planeswalker decks than something like Deafening Clarion would be, or any other sweeper. Sounds pretty good. Needs a second white source, but if it finds it, we're like on a roll. Hey, Tikash. Thanks for the 7 months. Happy Wednesday. Hope you're having a good week. Wherever you are at. Waiting on a white source. Oh, we're halfway there. Oh, wanna cast a coronet. Do 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 do. Stomping Ground, Eldrazi Temple. All right. Get Thought-Knot Seer next turn. It's probably not that big of a deal because if they Thought-Knot Seer, they have to take Daybreak Coronet, and then I still have a Path to Exile, so it's like, this is fine. To the skies, my Bogle! Slip on into something more comfortable here, little boy. Slippery boy. Oh no, not my face. I liked my face, opponent. Don't bolt my face. Groll Spellbreaker. Oh, opponent. Oh, my sweet summer child. This is not the format you're looking for, opponent. This is not the Groll Spellbreaker format. Not the Girl Spellbreaker format. Am I again just clicking submit? I think I'm again just clicking submit. Our sideboard has not been particularly useful today. Yeah, this seems great. It doesn't have Daybreak Coronet in it, but it's got Spirit Link and some ways to pump up the power and toughness. Oh no! My opponent's like playing tribal 3-power creatures with haste. 3 powers with haste, 3 power with haste tribal. It was always weird to me that they didn't name the mechanic Lifelink Spirit Link, because this card called Spirit Link basically gives pseudo Lifelink. Although functionally within the context of the rules, this is now different from Lifelink because they didn't errata this card when they introduced Lifelink. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Channel the hyena. Get him. This is a 2/2. Next turn we make it a 4, and then a 7. Oh no! Oh no! They've got so many anti-Bogles cards. What did my sweet Bogles ever do to you, opponent? Who hurt you? Why do my Bogles make you so angry? Why do my Bogles make you so angry, opponent? Can't you just love them? Can't you just love them? I mean, we're definitely losing game 2 to the Girl Spellbreaker deck here. That much is for certain. Listen, and this is why this is what makes Modern a frustrating competitive format. Even when you play a deck like Bogles, which is good, there's such powerful hate cards in this format that are relatively narrow a lot of the time, that if someone really wants to beat your tier 1 deck, you basically can't stop them from beating you. You just have to be like, thank you, sir, may I have another? You wanted it more than me. I'm going to move on to the next match. That's just how it goes. It's just how it goes. It's a format where there frequently is very little play and counterplay to the games that you are engaging in. If they want it more than you, you just kind of gotta shrug and be like, yep, you got it. Yeah, designing sideboards for Modern is basically an exercise in like deciding which 3 decks do you want to beat in a given week and then conceding to the rest of them. I'm like hoping you run into the decks that you like actually put cards in your sideboard for. Well, I mean, like, you know, if they don't kill me this turn and I draw a Daybreak Coronet, we could kill them next turn. Am I dead? Alright, did the lightning bolt. Daybreak. That doesn't do it. Protection from creatures not good enough. Alright, so do I want some amount of Pithing Needles for their explosives and stuff? Maybe? I could board in Teeg because he stops, he stops engineered explosives. Let's do that. Get some 2/2s in here. Then Faith, thanks for the 4-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I mean, kinda. Like, if you look at that game, my opponent drew 2 of their incredibly high impact cards, and like, I still had Daybreak Coronet as an out on the last turn. I guess it depends on like what your definition of shuts off is. If you mean I was going to play through 2 of their best possible hate cards, then yeah, I guess they shut us off. Shut us off. I'm actually going to play Horizon Canopy on 1 so I can keep that land on top, I think. I think my sequencing here is going to be Bogle into Razorverge Thicket, Ledgewalker, and then like Gryff Spoon into Daybreak Coronet on turn 3. Hopefully we don't get turn 2 Thought-Knot Seared. Torpor Orb does stop Thought-Knot Seared's trigger. Yikes. So probably dead unless we draw another one of these. We have no official word yet on whether or not the London Mulligan is coming or not. Rats. They figured out they should take the card that kills them. It's unfortunate. This can't be blocked except by creatures with flying, so it's a free attack here. They have a Smusher here as well. Just an Obligator, sure. I think if they attack, I'm going to go ahead and trade my 1/1 for their 3/1. Seems profitable. I just play what people pay me to play, Brecken. Although, I don't know if I'm going to take this deck again. It's kind of dry. Like, the gameplay's not particularly interesting or compelling. Hold on, folks. I'm going to do it again. Yep, yeah, exactly, Brecken. And we talked about that earlier. The only meaningful decisions you make with a deck like this is how you sideboard and what hands you keep. Just like, did I draw a Daybreak Coronet? I did not. Go to next. Maybe I'm at a point where I'm supposed to be cashing this into gain 4. Yeah, I'm gonna be done for the day. This deck's kind of lame. I don't really want to lose another match or two with this. I'm gonna do run long in standard today because I need to figure out or make roads towards figuring out what deck I want to play on Saturday. And this deck doesn't feel particularly compelling or interesting. Like, all the decisions you make are in the hands you keep, and the actual in-game gameplay decisions are mostly just like hoping you draw your Daybreak Coronet at opportune times and hoping your opponent doesn't hit their meaningful things. So, on to the next one. So, Tiwui, unlike Magic Arena, where I have access to a full collection, because Magic Online has a full buy, sell, trade secondary market, I don't have all of the cards on it like I do on Arena. So, like, to get cards to change decks is like a 10-minute process because I have to, like, upload a list to my sponsor to place an order for cards and then, like, wait for them to fill the order and return my existing order. Yeah, that's exactly correct, Venfave. It's a deck full of 1 and 2 mana hexproof creatures that you just put enchantments onto. To a degree, Fearburger. I think there's decks that are, like, much better, provide much more player agency, and are at a higher power level than Bogles, that, like, similarly provide quick, fast gameplay that still allow for more player agency.